Hi guys, I hope everybody's having a great day today and enjoying this beautiful spring weather. Today we're going to make delicious cinnamon buns. And for our cinnamon buns, first we're going to have our dough, and we're going to need 2 3/4 cup of flour, 1/4 cup of sugar, and we need a half a teaspoon of salt, 1 egg at room temperature. We'll need 3 tablespoons of soft butter, and we need 1 package of yeast, or 2 1/4 teaspoon of yeast if you don't have package, and a 3/4 cup of whole milk. So let's get started. First we're going to get our milk and our butter warmed up in our microwave, and we want to make it about a temperature of a lukewarm temperature. So we're going to put that in a minute and we'll see how warm it is, and if it's too hot we'll let it cool down before we add our yeast. So let's go to the microwave and we'll do that. So I've melted my butter and my milk, and I warmed it up actually, and it's a little bit hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it start to cool down a little bit to lukewarm, and I'm going to start with our flour mixture. So we're going to add our 2 3/4 cup of flour in here, and our half a teaspoon of salt, and our 1/4 cup of sugar. And we're just going to whisk this all together. Okay, so our milk and butter is now at a lukewarm temperature, so I'm going to add my yeast. And we're just going to sprinkle it over the top. And this recipe only has to have 1 rise, so we don't need to rise the yeast twice, just once. And this is an active dry yeast. And I just want to say that when you're heating up your milk and butter, maybe do it 20 intervals at a time rather than the 1 minute, so it might be too hot. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to whisk my egg here. And I'm going to add the egg into my milk, butter, and yeast mixture. Now into our flour mixture that we have already whisked here together, we're going to add this. I made like a hole in it, and I'm just going to add my yeast, milk, and butter all together in there. And we're going to give it a stir. When it gets too thick to stir, I'm going to put my gloves on. I'm going to put my hands right into it and mix it up. We're getting it all mixed in here. And once it's all mixed in, then we're going to just let it rest for about 10 minutes. Okay, so we got our dough all mixed up nice, and I've got it covered with some Saran Wrap. I'm just going to let it rest for 10 minutes. And while that's resting, I'm going to mix my sugar and my cinnamon. And I have 1/3 cup of brown sugar and 1 1/2 tablespoons of cinnamon. And that's going to be mixed in here. And I've got 3 tablespoons of butter, and that's going to be on our coating of our dough to make our cinnamon buns. So we're just going to mix these together, these two things. Our cinnamon and brown sugar. And that will be our filling for our cinnamon bun. Okay, our dough has been resting for about 10 minutes, so now we're just going to take it out, and I'm going to put some flour on my board here. I'm just going to knead this dough a little bit. I'm just going to, for about 10 minutes, we're going to knead it, stretch it out, and we're going to knead it good to get a nice soft dough. So we knead our dough for about 5 minutes, and now I'm just rolling it out on my board. I'm going to roll it out to a size 11 by 8 inch rectangular square. I guess I said 8 by 11, but anyway, it's 9 by 13 to roll it out. So now it's rolled out to 9 by 13. Yeah, 13 wide and 9 wide. So we're just going to take our softened butter, and I'm going to just take it and put it on top of our cinnamon bun mixture. And I've got 3 tablespoons of soft butter, but you may not need that much. I think we're only going to use about 2 here.
Sweet.
Okay, now that we've buttered our dough, now I'm just going to take my cinnamon sugar and I'm just going to sprinkle it on it. we want to cover the whole dough here. So we're just going to keep sprinkling till we get it all on there. I've turned my oven on before I start to make my dough at a 350, and then I turned it off once it's up temperature, and then I'll just open my door after and lay my cinnamon buns in there to rise. Okay. So I got my cinnamon sugar on, and I'm just taking my rolling pin and I'm just rolling it into the dough so it stays good. And now that I've got that done, now we're just going to roll it up. We want to roll it fairly tight. You want to start at the end here, just kind of curl your dough. And we're going to roll it right to the end. Sometimes it's a little hard to get started even, but once you get going, it's good. So we're going here. I'm going to go right to the end here. And some of the cinnamon stuff might come out, but that's okay too, because we got lots in it, lots of coating, filling, rather. So, and now I'm just going to take my thing. I'm going to divide it like this, about the same amount each time. Next, I'm taking a piece of thread. You can use a knife if you want to cut them, but I like to do it with a thread because it cuts it nice and even. And I just put it underneath, and then I just pull them one way and one the other, opposite sides. And I buttered my pan here, and I'm just going to lay them in my buttered pan here. And some are going to be thicker than others, but that's okay too. It's fine. And we're just going to keep lining them up here till we get them all cut, and we'll fill our pan up here. So I take my end one and I put it in towards the other ones, and that way it'll keep it from coming apart too much when they're cooking. I've got them all cut and they're in our pan here, and now I'm just going to put some saran wrap over it lightly, and I'm going to take it over to my oven that was heated up earlier, and I'm going to place it in there. You want to put them in a warm area so they can rise for about an hour and a half, at least till they're doubled in size, and then we can cook them. We'll come back and we'll tell you what we're going to do next. Actually, the oven is 350 degrees, so you can when we go to cook them, you'll preheat your oven to that. But right now, we're just going to let them rise. Yeah, as I said earlier, I preheated my oven for 350 and then turned it off. So now I'm just sitting them on the oven door, and they can be in a nice warm area to rise. And so that's what you want to do, but you want your oven off. So it's just the heat from it will make the room warm, and plus the cinnamon buns will rise in. While we're waiting for our cinnamon buns to rise there, I'm going to make the icing for it. So it's just a light glaze, and we got 2 tablespoons of butter. We'll just put that in our bowl here. And we're going to blend it up a little bit just with my hand beater, so it's going to make a noise. So we've creamed our butter a little bit. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of the icing sugar, and I'm going to blend that in. And I'm going to alternate with my milk. I've got 4 tablespoons of milk here, and I'm going to add a little bit of that in now. And then we're going to add a little more icing sugar of our 2 cups here. We're just going to blend that in as well. Put it on low. Okay, we've got our butter and our icing sugar and our milk all blended up nice and smooth. Now I'm just going to add the 2 teaspoons of vanilla and blend this all in good to our icing. So now our vanilla is all mixed in to our icing. You can see it's just a nice smooth icing. And once our cinnamon buns are all cooked and cooled a little bit, we'll add this onto it and make them nice and sweet, extra sweet. Okay, our cinnamon buns have now raised about double in size. And we've set our oven for 375. And it's up to temperature now. So now we're going to place our cinnamon buns into the oven for 15 to 18 minutes. We'll put the timer on and we'll come back and check them in 15, 18 minutes. Okay, we're going to check our cinnamon buns now and see how they're doing. And they look like they're done. Take them out and have a look here at the bottom, the side. Oh yeah, they're brown. The bottom, so they're done. Take them out and turn our oven off. So we'll let them cool for 10 or 15 minutes and then we'll take them out and put them on the rack to cool a little more, and then we'll put our icing on. You don't have to put icing on these cinnamon buns. They're just as tasty without them, but they're also good with icing. So it's your choice if you want to ice them or not. And sometimes I put a cream cheese icing on them and it's very delicious. Cinnamon buns have been cooling off here for about 15 minutes on this rack. I've put them on their tray, and I'm going to now put this icing on top of them. And I'm going to leave a few on icing because my husband likes them without icing. So I'm just going to put a few here and I just spray it on, and if it drips, it'll drip down. I think they're pretty cool now, they'll be okay. And you can just swirl your icing around on them. Cinnamon buns are all done, they're all iced up. And they're a nice little bun. You can see they're soft and fluffy and lots of cinnamon inside and very tasty. And you can have them in the morning with your cup of tea or coffee, or you can have some fresh juice with it. And some fresh fruit and make a nice breakfast. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video and I hope that you will try to make these delicious cinnamon buns. Give me a thumbs up, and if you would like, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. And everybody, God bless you all and have a great day, and thanks for watching.